We spend a lot of time talking about who is going to replace Jason Kelce, and rightfully so. Hall of Fame, Eagles legend. We don't spend enough time talking about who's going to replace Fletcher Cox. So we're going to talk about that today to kick off the show. Sixers beat the Clippers last night, 1-2 on this West Coast trip. We're going to talk about the Sixers a little bit for sure. Phillies opening day, maybe 4 days away. So the Phillies are going to be part of the conversation. I'm just going to forewarn you guys. Trending in the AM, taking your thoughts and opinions on all things Philly sports live. 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. We are live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. You know the drill. Hit the like, share, subscribe, retweet, follow button wherever you are watching. Hit any and all those buttons to interact with the show, but also to help spread the word of the best morning show in Philadelphia. Not the dial, not the big money networks right here, Philadelphia Sports Network. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel, as always. Finding me at Bearded Knowledge if you're interested on any platform that I'm on. You can find me there. And I'd greatly appreciate a follow. We got lots to talk about today. It's an overreaction Monday, but I don't know if there's a lot of overreacting going on. But for my opening monologue, we're going to talk a few different things. And then we'll get right into the comments. First and foremost, as I said, we spend a lot of time talking Jason Kelce and his replacement. Is Cam Jurgens the guy or not? Spend a lot of time talking that. But we don't talk about the other Eagles legend that retired, Fletcher Cox, and how the Eagles are going to replace him. Fletcher Cox was on the field for 684 snaps last year. It's a lot of snaps to replace. 60% of the defensive snaps. That is a lot. So we don't talk about that. So we are going to spend some time today trying to figure out how the Eagles will replace him. So I think it's a very underrated underrated problem that the Eagles have right now, or at least question mark. Sixers beat the Clippers yesterday, 1-2 on this West Coast trip. Mitchie Poo, I see you're in the comments. We'll get to your comments in a second. But you said 2-2. That means they got to win tonight on a back-to-back in Sacramento to get to 2-2 on this West Coast trip. It was great to beat the Clippers yesterday. So I'm going to pose the question for the show. Anybody that wants to drop it while we're talking Eagles, we're talking Sixers. Who won the James Harden trade? I know James Harden didn't have a huge game yesterday, but James Harden has had a very good season in L.A. Love to get people's opinions now that a season's gone by. Who won that deal? James Harden would be helping right now on the Sixers without Joel Embiid. Phillies opening day Thursday, pending rain and a lot of it. Probably won't be opening day on Thursday like it's supposed to be. We'll cross that bridge Thursday when we come to it. But Phillies made some moves this weekend, trading Jake Cave, pretty much ensuring that Jorge Rojas and Christian Pache will be starting on the roster. Not both starting at the same time. Both be on the starting roster for the Philadelphia Phillies. Right move from Dave Dombrowski? I don't know. We're going to talk about that today. Phillies bullpen was rated the number one bullpen in baseball to start the 2024 season. I don't agree with it, but we're going to talk about that as well. So we're going to talk everything. Let me see what we've got in the comments here as my opening monologue wraps up here. Dejan who? Get better glasses. You can see me. I can see you just fine. You love to say that every show for some reason. I'm not sure why. Cooper Dejan. Okay, I got you. Safety in the draft. Did I meet Tobias Harris? Tobias Harris had a very good game Sunday against the Clippers. Doesn't matter. Not going to change my opinion on Tobias Harris now at this point because he has one good game occasionally. He had two good games this weekend, actually. One was in a losing effort, though. But he played well yesterday. Tip of the cap to him. You know, he did well. Jalen Carter, you're saying is going to replace Fletcher Cox. Excuse me. But how? Because think of it this way. Fletcher Cox played 684 snaps last year. Jalen Carter played the next most at 563. There are 684 Fletcher Cox snaps that need to go elsewhere. Now, some might go to Carter. He might up his percentage of snaps. Some may go to Jordan Davis, doubtfully many. But it's a really, really interesting theory on where they're going to go. Because Carter's not going to make up 600 snaps. He might make up an extra 100. Maybe 125. But there's still another 500 that we have to account for. I think it's a lot bigger of an issue than people realize. Marshawn, what is up this morning? Hope you had a great weekend. Sixers won because nobody wanted Harden but the Clippers and paid 2 firsts and a pick swap. Yes, I still do think the Sixers won the trade, personally. And I don't think I can properly answer this till I see what they do in the playoffs. Because James Harden's had plenty of great regular seasons. And he's having a great regular season in LA, shooting one of his highest clips ever from 3. Mixing well now after a while with Kawhi and Paul George. I hate the Paul George to Sixers rumors for the offseason. We'll get into that in the offseason. I was watching the game yesterday, Marshawn, for a little bit. I was watching Terrence Mann play. It's like, I can't believe that was who was holding up a potential Harden deal from either side. Like, we wanted him so bad, and the Clippers didn't want to get rid of him so bad. And I'm watching that game, I'm like, why? But, yeah, I think at this point the Sixers have won that trade. Now, if the Clippers go on to win an NBA championship this season, which is debatable, probably not, but, we'll see. They're not in the conversation. Then we might think differently of it. And it would break my heart to see James Harden hoisting a trophy like that. 5 days to season kickoff. Baseball starts on Thursday. For the Phillies, it's already started. For the Dodgers and Padres, Phillies probably won't play till Friday, though. They play Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, their opening series. Thursday is supposed to be a rainy day in Philly. Probably won't happen. Birmingham Stanley, so you're talking 5 days till the UFL, the new league. Combine the SFL and the XFL because no league can survive. So I'm going to get pounded with comments from time for UFL football all week long to talk about it, and I could care less about the UFL. The only time I will address the UFL on this show is to laugh at the comments you put in the comment section about the UFL. What is up, Little G? Good morning. Eagles pay us on draft Georgia and Alabama tomorrow. Happy birthday tomorrow to you, Little G. I'm sure you'll be in the comments tomorrow, too, and I will remind you, remember to say happy birthday to you, but happy birthday to you. Pay Haason Reddick his money. I agree. Pay that man his money. It's going to be a big mistake when they trade him. 4 p.m. Who cares? Again, you are the only person that cares. Harden has had a very good regular season, but he will be judged in the playoffs. Absolutely. 100%. 100%. Harden cannot be graded on a regular season. He's had plenty of great regular seasons throughout his career, hence why he's considered such a great NBA player of all time. His only knock is coming up small in the playoffs. So you can't judge that Harden trade yet, even though I'm posing the question, Marshawn. You can't really grade it yet. I did run a poll because you guys know I love my polls. Let me go here to Twitter real quick on my side screen. So I run a poll: who won the trade so far, the Harden deal. I put 4 options: Sixers, Clippers, both won equally, neither won equally. Right now, the Sixers are there's 139 poll votes so far. 49.6% say Sixers won. 10.8% say Clippers won. 12.2% say both teams won the trade. And surprisingly, 27.3% say neither team won the trade. So that's where the poll is at this morning. Reddick is strongly on the trading block. So the thing with the Haason Reddick thing, it's not the same as baseball, but the NFL owners meetings are going on. All the GMs, owners, and coaches are all in Orlando. Meeting this week for lots of things. They'll be going over rule changes, This is a great opportunity. If Howie Roseman's really serious about trading Haason Reddick, this week could happen. Later this week, they haven't said exactly when, but Howie will speak to the media again. Nick Sirianni will have a press conference. Jeffrey Lurie will. That's what I'm looking forward to. Even though he won't say anything that's really meaningful, I'm interested in seeing if the questions are asked. See if we can hold our media up to a higher standard or not. We'll see. But all the owners and GMs in a room together, in a hotel building together, I could see this being the week that Haason Reddick gets traded, if he is going to get traded. Now, it still could happen on draft night, but I still firmly believe that trading Haason Reddick would be a massive mistake in the short term. Howie's all in. You got to continue to go all in. You pay your best defensive end and keep him happy. Titans clash. What? What is up, Dave? Good morning. Hopefully, we can at least half those defensive snaps that Cox had because our offense is staying on the field. That is a great point. And someone did remind me when I talked about this weekend on Twitter that our defense was on the field a lot last year. I mean, hell, one game, the Bills game, it was like 95 snaps or something like that. So hopefully the defense will be better. Hence, his 684 snaps might have equated to 590, say, that we got to replace. 550 that we got to replace. But we still got to replace him. And we've made moves. We've brought in Devin White. We've brought in Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Saquon Barkley, Bryce Huff. We've brought in a bunch of big names. But right now, our defensive tackles, Moro Ojomo, who played 68 snaps last year on defense, Marlon Tupelodu, 162 snaps, who is often injured but has some potential. Milton Williams, 494 snaps. Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, 519, 563. So 684 snaps. Maybe if he's healthy, Tupelodu could play a few more. I highly expect Milton Williams to make up about 100 of those snaps. But just say, for argument's sake, Carter and Milton Williams each go up 100 snaps. That's 200 snaps. Jordan Davis ain't going to play more than 50 more snaps than he did last year. That's 250 now you're at. That means you're looking to make up 400 snaps between Tupelodu and Ojomo. And I don't think I'm not saying that Howie is done making moves at defensive tackle because he's probably not. But it's not talked about enough. Like all we do is spend time talking about can Cam Jurgens replace Fletcher Cox? Is Howie Roseman going to draft a center to be the guy? Like we keep talking about that, but everyone's glossing over this massive loss of Fletcher Cox. Because not only did he play 684 snaps last year, he played them at a very high clip. Like he had one of his better seasons of the last 4 years in his last year. Now, maybe he decides to come back halfway through the season, a la Ndamukong Suh. Yeah. Maybe he pulls one of those. I don't think so. I don't know. You can't rely on hope. Maybe by week 8, someone comes out of retirement. But Howie Roseman's got to bring in more depth or consider, and I've been running a mock draft every single day on Twitter. My episode of the day. And I've drafted some defensive tackles early in the draft, in the first or second round for the Eagles, because I realize that there is a glaring hole at defensive tackle right now. Nobody move until kickoff returner catches the ball. Is that how they're phrasing one of the rule changes? Yeah, that's not going to happen. I don't know. Scoring way down last year, was it? I don't know. I don't want to lose Haason. He's been our best defensive player much of the time, and a closer. He is a closer, Dave. That's a great point. He is a closer. He comes up big. He might disappear for 3 quarters, but when the game is on the line, he seems to dig deep and have a little bit extra. I don't think Bryce Huff signing means you could just straight get rid of Haason Reddick. You better get max value. If you get anything less than a second-round pick, which I don't think teams are offering, then I think it's a massive, massive mistake. And now he's made some missteps, in my opinion. The Kenny Pickett thing, I'm still not over it. Funny, the Eagles did sign another quarterback this weekend, Will Grier, who has experience in the Kellen Moore system to be right now. I guess he's listed as the 4th-string quarterback, but you need 4 quarterback arms for camp, so it's a camp arm. But Howie's made some missteps. He's made some great signings. He's made some boom bust signings. He's also, made some questionable ones, in my opinion. There's plenty of truthers out there that think Howie's had a perfect offseason. The first time in the career Reddick want to get paid. Reddick's been the team guy everywhere he's going. He wants to get paid. And rightfully so. At 30 years old, or whatever he is, right around 30, 32. I mean, this could be his last chance for a big payday. And he wants to get it. And if it's really what it is, which the rumors have said he wants $25 million a year, Eagles are at 20 to 22. If Howie Roseman is really holding up the Haason Reddick extension over $3 million a year, then that's a big mistake from Howie Roseman. I like Milton a lot. He'll get more snaps. I am extremely excited to see Milton Williams in a larger role this year, Dave. Very excited to see Milton Williams in a larger role. Very, very excited. We all know the numbers going into last season, how on a snap percent basis, he was right there with Aaron Donald as being one of the most productive defensive tackles in football. Then they go out and get Jalen Carter in the draft, so he really didn't get that extra boost in snaps last year. I think you're going to see him a lot more this year. And I'm hoping they can find a way to get an extension done with him now so that when he has a big season this year, that he's not going into a free agency next offseason. I think Milton Williams can play a large role. But he played over 400 snaps last year. So he's not like he's going to make up a big percentage of what we're missing with Fletcher Cox. We thrive on that. Last year we had 5-6 guys rotating there. We got 5 guys right now. One of them in Jordan Davis, who can't play 50% of snaps. Another one in Ojomo, who hasn't even played 100 NFL snaps. Another one in Tupelodu, who they keep wanting, but keeps getting hurt. So they still need more. I'm not saying they have to go out and get a first-round defensive tackle. Wouldn't hurt. Wouldn't be a bad thing. Wouldn't be a popular thing, but it wouldn't be a bad thing. But they better add some more depth on this defensive line because, quite frankly, I'm concerned about the defensive tackle position right now on March 25th. Those players usually get moved because someone will pay, and the team they are on don't usually need them that bad. I think it's a big mistake. I think it's a big, big mistake. Byron Murphy at 22. Full results of the draft. I just ran a mock draft a little bit ago. Byron Murphy, he's the Texas defensive tackle. I think that's the one I mocked to the Eagles yesterday. I drafted a mock draft yesterday, and I took a defensive tackle. Nope, that wasn't yesterday. Yesterday, I took Kool-Aid McKinski. Let me see here. Saturday's mock draft. I was able to trade back, pick up a lot of value, and I got Byron Murphy at pick 31 for the Eagles, Marshawn. And I loved it. Thought it was a great deal, great trade, great value at that spot. Yeah, that works for me. It wouldn't be the sexy pick, but I think people would like it. A few more inches and Phil going to get blinded. Okay, I don't understand that. Hargraves' constant pressure up the middle for the D-line was missed last year. Hopefully Jalen can replace Harcott. Yeah. Jalen Carter, I don't know what to say about him. Man. Can't keep my sinuses clear again this morning. Jalen Carter had an amazing start to the season last year. Like, really amazing start to the season. And then he definitely, clearly fell off a little bit as the season went on. My question is why? Why did he just hit a rookie wall? Was he not in great shape? Was he more mature enough? He played a lot of snaps last year. And for first 8, 10, 12 weeks of the year, he was arguably defensive rookie of the year. But then he just fell off a cliff. He was in the backfield nonstop. Maybe not getting a lot of sacks, but in the backfield a lot, Jalen Carter, in the first half of the season. And then he fell off. I could see Jalen Carter replicating what Javon Hargrave used to do for us. But how much? Can he play 100 more snaps than he played last year? Probably. Can he produce like Fletcher Cox? Yeah, I think so. Can he be Javon Hargrave? Maybe. And people always talk about what went wrong last year. Maybe Javon Hargrave was a bigger loss than we realized on the defense. I mean, I know we replaced Hargrave with Carter. I don't know what kind of season overall, big picture, Hargrave had with the 49ers. You couldn't have paid him the money he got from the 49ers, like $90 million or something like that. But maybe it was a bigger loss than we realized. Sun window. Yeah, the sun. It is. Breaking news. I'll have a different studio. And in the next month or so, 4 weeks or so, I'll be doing these shows live from a different place. Really good personal news this weekend for myself and my wife. We've been trying to buy a house. We've been renting for the last 10 years. We've been trying to buy a house for over a year now, and we've been outbid, missed out on all different things. Not as good of offers as other people for almost a year now on houses. And finally this weekend we saw a house. We placed an offer on the house, and it was actually accepted. So my wife and I are buying a house, and it's huge news. It's huge. And I haven't decided where in this new house I'm going to be doing my shows from. But they got this really cool bar basement man cave thing set up in it. Might be where I'd be doing my shows from in about a month when we decide to move. So it's a huge deal. Still within 20 minutes of my pizza shop. It's in the Coatesville, East Fallowfield Township region. If anybody knows that area, it's right by Triple Fresh. It's a huge deal for me. And I'm really, really excited. My wife and I were really nervous because it's a lot because we won because we didn't have the biggest offer on the house. But we offered to do turnaround and settlement in 2 weeks. So we've got 2 weeks to get settlement done on a brand new house. So it's a big deal. I'm super pumped, but super nervous. And I got to pack this entire house up that we've been living in for the last 7 years. So a lot to go through and a lot to happen in the next 2 weeks. We'll move probably in the next 3 to 4, but man, stressful but exciting time in the Stiefel household. So this will be my studio for only another 3 or 4 weeks. By draft day, this will not be where I'm doing my shows from. So big deal. Lots going on. Falcons and Cardinals asking Howie. Yeah, I want to get back. Bring up the Falcons and Cardinals in about 20 minutes. TMZ. I want to bring that up because there's something else I want to talk about. That looks like a trade with the Niners on your mock draft. I didn't trade first with the Niners. I traded back with somebody else, and I traded back again. Yeah. I don't think the Eagles would work with the 49ers, but, it could happen. Draft's different. Will Grier, third-round Panthers. Is Tanner on the hot seat? Will Grier is here to push McKee, push Pickett, and he's here because he knows Kellen Moore's system. So he's going to actually be a benefit in the locker room in camps, teaching the verbiage of Kellen Moore's offense to this team. New studio, that's awesome. Yeah, it's just going to be a new room in a new house. Yes, thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. If Carter has 10 sacks this season, that will go a long way in helping. Absolutely agree. Can he get 10 sacks this season, though, Marshawn? That is the question. It's a major question. If he can. Thank you very much, Marshawn. I see all these comments coming in. I appreciate it. I personally have never owned a home before, so it'll be the first time I am not renting or just living in someone's house. So my wife used to own, so it's great. But we've been renting for a long time now, so I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Mitch. You get that. Yeah, Tobias Harris loaned me a couple mil. Corporate Phil, I wish. No. Surprise, Snead got the bag and went to the Titans. Just think about it. They traded for Snead. They traded basically a third-round pick. And the Titans, that's all they gave for a top-tier cornerback that was available. That tells me Haason Reddick you're not getting much more than a third-round pick because teams are less willing to trade big draft picks when they still have to pay the person that they're trading for. So I'm not trading Howie for a third-round pick or Haason Reddick if I'm Howie for a third-round pick. I'm demanding a second or I'm paying the man the money. Deshaun is cornerback. Congrats. Thank you. It's crazy house hunting, man. Big out. I mean, it's nauseating. Some of the houses that we've had the highest bid on multiple houses in the past, but we haven't done things like waived, inspections and stuff like that. And that's what people want. This time we guaranteed a 2-week turnaround. Long story short, divorce, need to get rid of the house, and they need it gone as soon as possible. So making it happen. It's gonna be hectic. But we actually had the lesser bid this time, but we made that quick 2-week settlement, and that's why we got it. So, yeah, it's gonna be a crazy 2 weeks. Now KC needs another good cornerback. They do. They do have to replace Snead, for sure. This setup is iconic. It's stressful fun. You'll get it. I have a great realtor, Jim Archicano. He's a fan of the show. He watches sometimes. You got to check him out. Jim, Next Move, Keller Williams, fantastic realtor. Appreciate his work and effort. Phil is going to be doing a show on moving boxes. And I might be. There might be some just like slightly, what will we say? Some slightly different appearances, even in the next 2 weeks here. This desk I'm using, I don't want it. It's big. It's clunky. I don't need it. It's expensive desk that we got very cheaply. I put it up for sale in the marketplace yesterday. If somebody buys it, I might be just doing the show from the floor in the office. Good luck. Yeah, thank you. Greer is a camp arm. 100% agree. And at best, quarterback 4, if he's even here at the beginning of the season. Exactly. I mean, people out there saying, well, he's being brought in because Howie's going to trade Kenny Pickett already. Stop. Will Greer is here to be a camp arm, to be a body, for him to get reps. He's not even a third string quarterback on a bad team. Will Greer is a practice squatter / camp body across the NFL. He's coming here to get work in. He's coming here because he knows Kellen Moore. He's coming here maybe to push Tanner McKee for quarterback 3. And that's it. It would take a shocking look. Will Greer has played 2 regular season NFL games in his career. He's been around the league for a few years now. He led the league in passing in spring training or preseason last year, and he still didn't play in a game. I think he was a third stringer last year. Where was he? Carolina last year? I forget where he was last year, but it was a bad team, and he couldn't see the field. So Will Greer is nothing more than the 4th guy to get reps in camp. No one wants Quez because Quez stinks. If I'm the Eagles, my eyes are peeled for tight end. I've been saying that since before last season when you were still TMC. Titans also had to pay Snead. Sucks for us if Haason can't get the deal he wants from Howie. Yeah, I think it's a massive, massive mistake if Howie moves on from him. Now, I can justify the mistake if it's a second-round pick. I definitely can justify it if it's a high second-round pick. But I still won't like the loss of Reddick. But getting a third-round pick, I know the team has to pay him. Isn't it just more valuable to keep Reddick for $5 more million than you're offering and have the best defensive line? You can replace Fletcher Cox a little bit better if you've got great ends. It'll make the defensive tackles you've got a little bit better. You don't go all in like Howie's done this offseason. Saquon Barkley, Bryce Huff, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and then trade away one of your best players. If you had to do it, if you had to think about it, Haason Reddick right now on the current roster, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson, Haason Reddick, is he the 5th best Eagle? Is he right now on the roster the best defensive player on this team? Trade away the best player on your defense? That doesn't make sense to me. Agreed. You will miss current setup. I mean, there'll be a cool setup. There's a really cool basement bar. So I'm thinking of doing it at the bar, even though you can't drink for breakfast every morning. Maybe I'll become PM in the AM. Sorry, I stole. That's copyrighted. Can't do that. EOP, corner of the difference. Yeah. That's what it is. That's how we got lucky. We basically, hey, don't knock your side piece up. That's all I can say. Because then you got to tell your wife that you got a side piece. Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Don't forget you used a third on Pickett. year number 2 until they trade him, supposedly. Exactly. So Howie might want that third to recoup that he got. And again, basically, then I'm going to start arguing on here that we traded Haason Reddick for Kenny Pickett, basically. And I'm going to cry even more about it. I can't believe we haven't made a short deal. Why hasn't Justin Simmons been signed by any team yet? I mean, that to me is questionable. Is it a red flag that he hasn't signed anywhere? I don't know. Needless to say, Jordan Davis did not work out. You can't call Jordan Davis a bust yet. He's only played 2 years. The first 7 to 8 weeks last year, he was playing very good. He just tailed off. Now we got to work on. First, we worked on getting him into camp in shape. Now we got to learn how to get him into camp in shape and keep him in shape all season long. And that would go along. If Jalen Carter could play like he did the first 6 weeks for a 17-game season, then he can make up some of that Fletcher Cox loss. You might not be wrong. Jake Elliott might be the best player on the Eagles right now. And that's a hot take, a bold take. That's a clickbait take, but it's possible. It's possible. We traded B-Dog. Haason could be gone by the draft. I'm not saying you can't trade Haason Reddick. And yes, we traded Brian Dawkins. And we still are crying about it here in Philadelphia all these years later. What I'm saying is you can't trade him for nothing. And a third-round pick is nothing compared to the production he can bring to the table. He wants to be here in Philadelphia, Haason Reddick. There's just a little bit of a money discrepancy right now between Howie and Haason. And I think it's not worth a third-round pick to move on from. It's not. A second is my bare minimum. If I'm Howie, or if I'm every other GM, and they call Howie, if Howie says, I want a second, and they say no, if I'm Howie, I hang up the phone immediately. I don't even want to talk to you if you don't got a second-round pick on the table. There has to be something about Simmons that he hasn't signed anywhere, I'm guessing. Yeah, I think maybe he may have overvalued. I think that he thought the Eagles would pay him X. Like, his value is here. And he thought the Eagles, because of Fangio, would pay him here. The Eagles were here. He's like, nah, I think you can pay me this. And then the market dried up. Less places for him to go. Now his market, he wanted here. Eagles and everybody else were here. Now, because everybody signed their safeties, there's less money available. So I think that's the problem. He'll sign somewhere eventually. Very possibly still here in Philly. And even though we signed Chauncey, and even though we've got Reed Blankenship, I'd be perfectly fine on a 1 or 2 year deal for Justin Simmons for sure. It would make sense. But I'm not sure why it hasn't happened yet. Justin Simmons makes our secondary and perimeter play so much better. Absolutely agree with you on that. Absolutely agree. But he's still not signed anywhere. Pickett is just a cheap quarterback too for the next 2 seasons, and we'll get a decent comp for him when he leaves here. I'm guessing a 3 or a 4 in 25 or 26. I get all that, Duck. I do. I still have not grasped dropping from 98 to 120 in the NFL draft. I've run so many mock drafts over the last couple of weeks for Twitter. And every time I do it, I see I trade back or I trade up or I do whatever, and I see the players I could pick in that 90s range versus the players I could pick in the 120s range. Big difference in confidence level in those guys. And some work out, some don't in that range. I get it. I know. Now Howie has to nail that 120 pick. He's got to hit a home run there to justify that trade for Kenny Pickett, in my opinion. To me, it was just overpaying for a cheap quarterback. You wanted a cheap backup quarterback, but you paid a lot for him. And I just don't like it. That's all. AJ, Lane, I forgot about Lane. Smitty, Elliott. You're not going to put Jalen Hurts in that. Jalen Hurts would be 1 in my book. AJ, Lane, Smitty, Elliott. All right, so Haason Reddick might not be top 5. Maybe he's top 7. Because you got to put Landon Dickerson, I think. Honestly, you got to put Landon right up there in the top 5 as well. Might have to make a Twitter post about this. Rank your top 10 Eagles, current Eagles. I'll have to see what that goes, how that goes on Twitter later today. Kelce was 6th-round pick. Mailata was a 7th-round pick, not undrafted. I know you can nail picks late, but the later the rounds go, the more likely to miss on. Quez was a 5th-rounder. You know, I'm trying to think of 4th-rounders that we've had in recent years. Davian Taylor, he was a 3rd. Kayvon Wallace was a 4th-rounder. So you got a player of the quality of Kayvon Wallace in the 4th round. Think of it that way. You get Kayvon Wallace. Basically, you traded Kayvon Wallace for Kenny Pickett and Quez Watkins. Something like that. No. You traded Dave. Well, I don't know. Anyway, you get what I'm trying to say. I think I'm messing up there. Phil is not writing on the Jalen Hurts wall. I am. And Marsha just likes to trigger me, and I'm not going to fall for it. I'm trying to be positive for Nitro. I'm trying to have a positive Monday show here because Nitro likes the positivity, even though he hasn't commented yet today. I'm staying ultra positive here today. I already put that one. I don't know why I clicked on that again. We're all going to call it out. You're wrong, Marsha. How could you be wrong? How dare you be wrong? But it's funny. I'm trying to make this about Fletcher Cox and Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. We turn it into Haason, Reddick, and Jalen Hurts and Kenny Pickett. Cody's gone on the rocks, Mom. I didn't watch SmackDown. I did this week, so I don't even know what happened. Hit that like. That's right. Why aren't we hitting that like button? The algo's been down for the last first week of free agency. Algo hugely highly up. Now it's kind of tapered off. Everybody's kind of tired of sports talk. Dead point of the season. NBA and NHL is kind of at the end of its, dead period, before the playoffs. See, I just mentioned the Flyers for K1 there. I said the Flyers. The Flyers have now had more airtime than the Phillies, and it's opening day week. Just saying. Sixers downtime in between free agency and the draft. Downtime. Baseball hasn't yet started. The Masters is still another week away. Downtime. But hit that like button for me. Who's firing up? You're firing up? I don't know. NBA season died for you once Joel got hurt. Look, I do want to talk Sixers this week a little bit. I mean, I watched some of that game yesterday, and I know it was a big win. I know it was a strong win. I know Tobias Harris played well. I know Tyrese Maxey had a great 4th quarter. But even in a winning effort, I did not have a good vibe and feeling coming from the team. Maybe because of how bad they played over the weekend and their other games. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the Sixers. I don't even know if it's worth having Joel Embiid coming back. I mean, you got to take a chance. You got to swing. You got to go all in all the time. But I just don't. The Sixers are an 8th seed right now. They might become the 7th seed. I don't even know if they can come out of the play on. They might be an 8th seed at best once the play-in tournament is over. And are they really going to beat the Celtics in the first round of the playoffs? With Joel Embiid just coming back from an injury? No. I'm really. It's weird to say after a really strong win that I'm down further than ever before. I don't know if Miami won, but I looked at the standings this morning, and the Sixers were tied with the Heat. The Heat were listed at 7. The Sixers were listed as 8 in the standings, Marshawn, if that answers your question. That's because Cox, Davis, and Carter are solid. Everyone was worried about defensive end, cornerback, and linebacker. But Fletcher Cox retired. So now the question is Milton Williams, Davis, and Carter good enough? And I don't think so. Well, I think they are good enough, but I don't think there's enough depth there because of what these guys are capable of playing snap-wise. There's got to be limits on each of these guys. A lot of unproven stuff with these guys. I think the loss of Fletcher Cox is way more of a big deal than people realize. Just from a production, not the leadership, not an Eagles legend, none of that. The fact that he produced and he played more snaps on the defensive line than anybody else. I actually have the entire defensive snap count up. And I wonder here, can I sort by this? No, I cannot sort by that. Sweat played more snaps than him last year. Morrow, obviously. Yeah. So the cornerbacks and linebackers played more than he did. Um, there's not many guys. One, two. There's four guys. Slay Bradbury, Reddick, Sweat, and Morrow. They're the only guys that played more snaps on defense than Fletcher Cox last year. None of our other safeties. Zach Cunningham didn't. To me, it's a big, big deal that we don't discuss enough. That Howie has had a great offseason so far, but has done nothing to replace someone of Fletcher Cox's abilities. Just his abilities last season, which weren't as good as his abilities in 2016, but still the best on the defensive line last year. I haven't watched the Sixers game since Joel got hurt. Hard to watch. I still watch them when they're on. I can't watch the late night West Coast games. No way that I could stay up that late. I'd still be up in the morning. But it is what it is. But yesterday was a 3:30. They got the Kings tonight to close out this 4-game trip. Then they got the Clippers at home on Wednesday. So James Harden comes back to Philly. I will be curious to see what the James Harden reception is like on Wednesday in South Philly. It should be some booing. But we'll talk about that later this week because I think that's a very interesting thing. How we should react to James Harden. Today, if I'm drafting best available edge or defensive tackle with first. Yeah, maybe. Cornerback second. Tight end third. I move Reddick for a late second. But see, the thing is, nobody's offering a second-round pick for Haason Reddick right now. Snead got a third because they had to pay him $80 million. If you trade for Haason Reddick, you got to give him $75 million, $80 million. Teams aren't going to trade a second-round pick for a player that they got to give $80 million to. And I see a lot of people linking the Falcons to Haason Reddick. I saw some blue check mark with more than 5 figures in followers, post like their for fun early playoff rankings for the 2024 season, which is how anybody can even project what teams are going to be before the draft even happens. It's asinine. It's stupid. But this account, which it was so asinine, that I don't even remember who it was. I literally just saw it before the show. Projected that the Falcons will be the number 2 team in the NFC this upcoming season. They also had the Cardinals and Bears in their playoff standings at 5 and 7. The Cardinals is the number 5 seed, and the Bears at the number 7 seed. Are they freaking crazy? Whoever the idiot was that posted that. Are they crazy? Like, seriously. I know they put at the top 4 fun early projections. They even know it's far too early. And I know adding Reddick to the Falcons would be good for them. They would make their defense better. They've made some moves. But, like, what's got to go on in your head as a content creator, as a sports media member, as just an idiot on Twitter with 5 followers? I think the Falcons are going to be the 2 seed, the Cardinals the 5 seed, and the Bears the 7 seed in the playoffs next year. Insanity. No way that there's any. Hey, the Cardinals and Bears ain't going to make the playoffs. And the Falcons might, but they ain't going to be the second best team in the conference. You got to win 12 games for that. And Kirk Cousins ain't going to do that. Probably one of the most ludicrous things I've seen over the last 24 to 36 hours. And I see a lot of crazy stuff on Twitter. And that had to take the cake right there. I was to pay. We got to pay. Devontae's going to get paid. Everybody in Eagles Nation is constantly panicking and overreacting because Haason Reddick hasn't been paid yet. Because or Devontae Smith hasn't been paid yet. Everybody's freaking out because Devontae Smith this. Devontae Smith has got 2 more years under contract. You're allowed to extend him now. He should get extended now. But he doesn't have to. People got to understand it. It doesn't have to happen. It doesn't. It's going to happen. It'll happen before week 1 in Brazil against the Cleveland Browns. Devontae Smith will have his contract. Guarantee it. But 98% likelihood that Devontae Smith is locked up by week 1 in Brazil. Okay? But it doesn't matter. That does not affect the next 2 years of what you give Haason Reddick. Hell, if he's looking, just say, hypothetically speaking, Haason Reddick wants 3 years, $75 million. Okay? And Howie's in the 3-year, just for hypothetical speaking, say he wants 3 years, 75. Howie's offering 3 years, 65. Just say that's where they're at right now. Okay? If I'm Howie, I say, okay, you want 75. I'm giving you 65. How about this? Let's do 2 years instead at 60 million. We've got the cap space this year and next year. Not worried about the cap space at 26 or 27 yet. We got the cap space to front load a contract right now. Let's go 2 years, 60. Just make them happy. Give him a boatload of money for the next 2 years, then revisit it. And hell, he'll be on the last year of his deal next year, so then maybe you can trade him after this year. We'll see. But right now, I'm doing everything in my power to lock Haason. Haason Reddick is on the priority list, head and shoulders above Devontae Smith at this point. Hell, finding another defensive tackle is higher on the priority list. Figuring out who's going to start at cornerback, higher on the priority list. Devontae Smith is like 10 on the priority list right now. And I'm sure Howie, he, and his agent have spoken, and they're on the same page. At least in timing of it. They might not be on the same page on the extension, but the timing of it, they've probably discussed it. I am not even remotely concerned about it. I don't know why Haason would want to go back to, so first you got to trade for the guy. But you also aren't going to trade major assets for a guy unless you know you can extend him. You're not trading from him and asking him to play on the last year of his deal. If you would, you're not going to trade a lot for him. So I don't know why Arizona would be in it. I know it's a different regime. And I know Haason Reddick had a great season under Jonathan Gannon, actually. 16 and a half sacks under Jonathan Gannon. But why would he left Arizona on bad terms, didn't he? I want to believe he left on bad terms. I think he did. I don't know. I'm not sure. Not sure. I can't remember how I know he wanted out of Arizona. So that's that. But Atlanta seems like they're not all in like the Eagles are. They're not all in the sense where they think they can win a Super Bowl in 2024. Like I think the Eagles could win. But they are definitely a team on the rise. They've got young talent. They've invested a ton of money in an average quarterback in Kirk Cousins. They've got a new coach, new system, new regime in place. They still got, Kirk Cousins might have lost Justin Jefferson, but he gained Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson. Can you imagine this time last year? Every other day we were talking about Bijan Robinson on this show. They added somebody else too. They had a tight end or another wide receiver. They added somebody else on offense too. I forget who in Atlanta. But they added Kirk Cousins. They're like all in. Let's go get Kirk Cousins and give him $180 million. Fucking insane. Pardon my French. It will be epic. Huge contract, record setting. Devontae Smith will. That's why you sign him now. He will get an epic contract. He will get paid more money than A.J. Brown's contract. 4 years, 125. That's the starting point. 60 million guaranteed. That's the starting point, at least. Okay? But you get it done this year so that when Jamar Chase, when Justin Jefferson are up for their extensions, guys that are above Devontae Smith, that you don't have, like, it's just like quarterback. The next quarterback that signs wants to be the highest paid guy. So you sign your quarterback before the others. Jalen Hurts got signed before all the others. That's good. That's what you do. That's why he's not the highest paid quarterback anymore. You do the same with Devontae Smith. But it's not the priority that's got to get done today. It could get done over the next 3 months. And it's still okay in my book. Can we pay? Are you asking, like, can we afford it? Sure. We absolutely can. I never worry about money when it comes to Howie Roseman. Figures it out. Plus, we still have, after draft picks where they're slotted right now and the moves we've made, we've got about $20 million left. So if we're not making any more major deals, you could have 20, 25 million, something like that left. You can pay Haason Reddick. You can make the deal. You can find a way to get it to work with bonuses and the cap hit spreading it out and stuff like that. It can get done, and it should get done. And if you trade him, it would be a major mistake. And on top of that, if you don't trade him and don't sign him to an extension, and you try to convince him to play on a 1-year deal, his last year of his deal, he's not going to show up to OTAs. Guarantee you that. He might not show up to training camp, at least not right away. He's going to be a holdout. And you know what holdouts are? They're distractions. And I hate distractions. I really do. I think you need to make a decision. But in my opinion, I would be happy one way or another as long as this thing is wrapped up by the trade deadline or the draft day. Okay? If it gets done on night 1 of the draft, that's fine. Okay? I don't want to trade. I only would accept the trade for a second-round pick. But it is what it is. In fact, I'm going to try to do a mock draft today and try to trade Haason Reddick and see if what I could get for him in a trade. I'm going to try to do that. And we'll talk about that. We're going to do, I think maybe tomorrow might be the first time I do a mock draft on this show. We're going to start mixing. Now we're a month away from the draft. I'll start doing at least once a week a mock draft on this show, so we'll see when we get to that. Tight ends and Kirk Cousins going all in. But there's somebody with a blue check mark with a lot of followers that thinks Atlanta's going to be the number 2 seed in the NFC already. It's laughable. It's laughable. Kirk Cousins, Atlanta, they're going to win like 10 games maybe next year. Maybe. The NFC South, I mean, Baker Mayfield and the Bucs are still a good team. Carolina stinks, obviously. The Saints are always an average, solid team. So there's no way Atlanta's running away record-wise to be the number 2 seed. It's a joke. Haason plays out his contract this year, then we sign him. He will not play out the last year of his contract. Only way he plays out the last year of his contract is if he holds out for all of camp and just shows up week 1 and he plays disgruntled all year. You don't want a disgruntled Haason Reddick. You don't. Then he gets banged up. He's like, I got to sit a couple of weeks because my arm's not, or my shoulder, or my knee's sore, or whatever. You don't want that distraction. You either trade him or you give him the extension. You don't make him play out the last year of this deal. He outplayed his contract. It's the way the NFL is. You renegotiate deals all the time. You get an extension done, or you trade him. In my opinion, it's a big mistake to trade him, unless you get max value. But we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. But then, the whole point of this show is talking about Fletcher Cox and who's replacing him on the defensive line. You lose Haason Reddick and Fletcher Cox, your 2 best defensive players of 2024, maybe 2023. Your 2 best defensive players of the last 2 years are both gone. And you're replacing them with, hopefully, an improvement from Carter and Bryce Huff and an improvement from Nolan Smith. I don't think it's enough. You trade Haason Reddick. Now, early in the draft, you've got to draft 2 defensive linemen, a tackle and an edge rusher. Look, right now, if you trade Haason Reddick, your ends are Huff, Sweat, and Nolan Smith. That is not good enough. That's a big difference. I would trade away Nolan Smith, who I still like and think has huge potential. And Brandon Graham's in there as well, too. But Josh Sweat is not Haason Reddick's level. Nolan Smith's not there yet. Bryce Huff might be, but I still have question marks on it. I think it's a great signing. I think it's a great deal, but there's still questions there. You can't lose Fletcher Cox and Haason Reddick on your defense in the same year. You just can't. And expect to replace their level of production. It just does not seem like the smart thing to do. NCAA tournament stinks. I have no clue. Who made the Sweet 16? Are there any darlings? Did Oakland win and make it to Sweet 16? I know they beat Kentucky. I know we talked about that on Friday. How glad I am all the time whenever I see John Calipari lose a basketball game. The second worst Italian-American in coaching behind one Rick Pitino. Anytime I could throw a dig at Rick Pitino, I will. Not, as Mark would say, fine, upstanding Italian-Americans, those two guys not find upstanding Italian Americans. But I don't know who's in the Sweet 16. All I know is I made one last week on Tuesday. We had Michael Huffer on to talk March Madness, and he told me to bet Auburn. I bet Auburn. They go down round one. So happy I threw that $5 out the window. Throw it out the window is what it is. Cinderella story, yeah. The darlings. I like to call them the darlings of March Madness. Cinderella story. It's fine. But did they? I don't know. We went out to dinner last night to celebrate our house purchase. And K1, you're late to the party. I announced this is going to be, I've only got about 2 to 3 more weeks in this studio because we bought a house and we'll be moving in a couple weeks. There might be a few days where we don't do shows in a couple weeks because moving is going to take a lot of time and I'm going to have to get internet set up and move and stuff like that. So there might be a few days of skip shows in mid-April. But don't worry. We'll deal with that bridge when we get there. Okay? But we were out celebrating last night and there was a game on the TV. And I was like, I don't even know. Like, I'm like, I was playing on my phone and I was watching something else on another TV. And the TV was right in front of me at the bar. Huffer is I already let him know he's dead to me. I already told him, thanks a lot for costing me $5. San Diego State looks good. Of course, Duke and Houston look solid. Oregon lost a heartbreaker in overtime, and they had a lot of promise. That's I read that out loud, Dave, and that sounds like I'm reading Chinese. I don't know what any of that means. I've heard of the word Duke before. I have actually heard a few people talk about San Diego State this year, joking aside, and Houston. Team's game plan to stop Haason Reddick. He's definitely a threat. Exactly. Okay, so this is a great point from Mister. And team's game plan to stop certain guys on your defense. You take Haason Reddick off the defense. Who are they game planning for? I mean, Bryce Huff. You're losing a guy that offenses have to zone their entire week of game planning around. How do we avoid Haason Reddick? And if you trade him away for nothing, you pay that guy. You can't lose him and Fletcher Cox because you're already undervaluing, not you specifically, Mister, but you as the fans of the Eagles in general are undervaluing the loss of Fletcher Cox. And then you want to go and trade away Haason Reddick. Now you'd be losing 2 of your best players on defense from the last 2 years. And with no clear-cut way to replace him. Muchas gracias. That's Spanish for thank you very much. Now live from the No Sponsor Studio. Yeah, maybe I should get a sign. The No Sponsor Studio. I like that, actually. Getting a banner to hang behind me. The No Sponsor Studio. I like it. I like it. All the better seeded teams beat lower, except for Auburn and Kentucky. Yeah. Number 1, UConn Huskies face off number 5, San Diego State for upcoming easy victory. San Diego State. I think spell check auto-corrected that, but we'll let you slide on that. Okay. I don't know. I don't care. I will not watch any more college basketball. Maybe I'll watch the championship game. Maybe in a few weeks, but it's doubtful. It's very doubtful. I got a moving to do. It's going to be so far down my list of priorities that I could care less about March Madness. I could care less about it at the start of it. But now, I'm done. I'm over it. I at least had, for one day, a horse in the race. But then Auburn went and, donkeyed my $5. That's why you don't make bets on things you don't know. I mean, I know golf, and I struggle at golf betting, but I know it. Basketball, college basketball, I know nothing about it. Pay a voice guy live from Philadelphia in the No Sponsor Studio. Bill Stiefel. Why do I need to pay a voice guy? I can do the voice stuff. I can be my own voiceover live from the Philly, from Coatesville, Pennsylvania, in the I Have No Sponsor Studio. The Beard, the Scruff, Phil Stiefel. See, I could do it. I could do the voiceover work. I could. NC might cut down the Nets. I think that might have been the team that were they on around 6, 7 o'clock last night? That might have been the team that was on when I was at the bar, and I had no interest in watching it whatsoever. So Huffer picked one of the two chalk teams that lost. Is a 4 seed Auburn a chalk team? He picked the 4 seed, so well, that's who he told me to bet. I don't know. I don't remember who he picked. Sounds good. Okay, do that. So you want me to do the voiceover for the intro? I should do a voiceover intro. I don't know how to do it, but I think that would be a really good, you know, sound. Like I could do it and add it to the end of the intro video. I got to figure out how to do that. Recorded audio to play at the end of the intro video. I don't know. I got to figure out how to do that. Somebody knows how to make intro videos. We got to do that. We got to do that. We got to upgrade the intro. 3 Illinois versus 2 Iowa State. Okay, who cares? I don't. Phil, you could do a lot, but that voiceover wasn't good. Maybe I need a better microphone. This is a Timu microphone. I have to work on how far away, how close, and how high, and how deep. I have to work on a few things. But yeah, live from I have no sponsor studio. Phil Stiefel, the #1 morning show in Philadelphia. You got to add that into it too somehow. All right, so maybe I'm not a voiceover actor. Okay, you're never going to hear me doing the commercials. Okay, This is not a face for TV. It's not a voice for radio, and not a face for TV. I'm just a guy. I'm just a jag. Just a guy. You know a guy. Okay. Wink, wink. Got to add a little edge to my intro video. Get a reverb plug-in, and it'll be awesome. There might be something like that on this board. I don't know. There's so much that this board can do, probably, and I don't know. But whatever. It is what it is. 1 North Carolina versus 4 Alabama. I always have a special place in my heart for North Carolina, just because the first time I ever did a March Madness bracket was Eric Montross led North Carolina to a championship, and I won that bracket challenge in my class in school. I was at like 93. I was in like the 6th grade, 7th grade, Holy Cross. And everybody had Michigan winning, and I was the only one in my class that picked North Carolina. We all threw $5 in a pot. I won. Been always specially attached to North Carolina because of that. I've hated North Carolina for other reasons, but they'll always hold a special place in my heart. Yup, reverb. Yeah, maybe. You have a face for radio and a voice for quiet time. Thanks a lot, Doug. Breaking my heart. I'm on a high of highs right now. I just bought a freaking house. You're trying to kick me back. Don't let me get up. When I'm down, don't let me get up. Kick me back down. Trip me. I know you're just kidding. Oh, I hope you're just kidding. Clemson versus Arizona. Okay, you're just putting all the matchups in the Sweet 16. When I said I don't even know who's in the Sweet 16, that doesn't mean I wanted to know who's in the Sweet 16. I could care less who's in the Sweet 16. 6 is the worst on the one side. Super. Even though you're moving, still got to do the draft coverage. Oh, I'll be back by the draft. I mean, if I take any days off, it'll be a couple days maximum. But there's a guarantee the week of the draft, I will be up and running by the week of the draft. I will not miss NFL draft week. It's a fantastic week. We'll get lots of guests on here. We'll run mock drafts for the Eagles. We'll run first-round mock drafts. We'll run a lot of things for all the teams. We're going to do a lot of draft coverage in the week of the draft for sure. And then obviously after Thursday night, the Friday show will be jam-packed talking about whoever the Eagles draft in that first round. So much going to happen. A lot of, personal changes, a lot of professional changes happening too. So there's lots happening for my life in the next couple of weeks. But that's why it's so important to make sure you're following me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Beard of Knowledge. You got to follow me. I think there's a way I can change my personal Facebook page into a fan page too. And I might do that and let people follow me on Facebook as well. I got to work on that. Someone told me to do that. 1 Houston versus, okay, so we're going to continue on. NC State 11, the worst versus Marquette. So 11 seed is the worst that's left. Get Phil AI to cover you. So get an AI to cover me. Not going to happen. There'll never be any artificial intelligence that can do what I do. There is no such thing as an artificial intelligence being, creation that's as cool as I am. Not as entertaining as I am, as easily triggered as I am. I don't think AI is ever triggered, is it? I think they just answer whatever you say. Guys, you're watching Trending in the AM. Forgot to reset, so make sure you do that. Make sure we hit like, share, subscribe, follow, retweet, wherever you're watching. Make sure you get your thoughts in. We have talked a lot about the Eagles' defense. Fletcher Cox conversation has kind of transitioned again into Haason Reddick, but that is on the table. How you replace Fletcher Cox. Phillies opening day is 4 days away, maybe, depending on rain. Phillies made a minor move of trading Jake Cave this weekend. Means Rojas and Pache are going to make the initial roster as of this moment. Phillies bullpen rated the #1 bullpen in baseball. I don't know how I agree about that or not, but that's on the table. James Harden, we beat him yesterday. He comes back to Philly on Wednesday. Sixers on the agenda, playing Sacramento tonight. Everything is on the table, whatever you want to talk about. Hell, I've even mentioned and talked about the Flyers. Unfortunately, K1, you missed the Flyers talk earlier in the show. And back at the comments, there is barely intelligence that can do what you do. Just, yeah. You see what you're doing. Duck's brought his A game to the comment section today. Yeah. Hold on. Let me itch my face a little bit for you, Duck. That's all. I'm just itching. I got an itch right here, you know? When AI Phil know how you use clippers correctly. See, everybody's got jokes. It's a Monday morning. I'm only halfway through my first cup of coffee. And we all got jokes. We all got jokes. I love it. I love to see the jokes. Maybe Phil AI. See, again, I talked to Flyers. I mentioned the Flyers before the Phillies and Sixers earlier in the show. K1, but you weren't here for it. I even called you out and said, K1's not even here for me to mention the Flyers before I mentioned the Phillies. Just going to say. And still, I could care less about the Flyers. Straight up. Who rated Phillies bullpen? I think it was MLB. One of the major media organizations had the Phillies. Hold on. I shared it out on Twitter. Give me a second. It was MLB.com's Twitter page. So Major League Baseball's Twitter page ranked us the best bullpen, which I don't know how that's possible, considering Alvarado, he's your closer, but I don't think he's a closer. I think he's your high leverage guys. Dominguez, secret weapon. Sir Anthony Dominguez could be your closer of this team, but there's still question marks there. You got Hoffman coming off of his only great year of his career. You got a lot of question marks in that bullpen. Matt Strahm, he just got a 2-year extension, by the way, which I like. You still need a high-end closer for the stretch run. I don't know how you can rate the best bullpen in baseball, Duck. And just so you know, for argument's sake, MLB.com, Phillies 1, Braves 2. Padres? It says the Pittsburgh Pirates. I thought it said Pittsburgh Padres. I was going to say maybe this is a fake account. The Pirates 3, Astros 4, Tampa Bay, Devil Rays forever in my book. 5, the Los Angeles Dodgers 6, 7 Cardinals, 8 Brewers, 9 Twins, 10 Cubs, Blue Jays tie. That's how they rank them. Just so you know. Thumbs up your 1 Purdue, 5 Gonzaga. All guys love Gonzaga. I don't know why. Everyone loves. They were the darlings from years ago. Creighton versus Tennessee. TMC would never troll Phil out. Yeah, exactly. The AI would know who the trolls are and just not even respond to them. Me, I like to play along. I like to have fun. I like to enjoy myself. Yeah, hit a thumbs up. No, you asked this question. Everyone's gonna hit the thumbs down button. Which I don't know what happens if you hit thumbs down on it. Like, does it kill the algorithm even more? Don't hit the thumbs down, guys. That would be detrimental. I love nice Gonzagas. Is that supposed to be a dirty joke? I don't even know. If it is, I don't even understand it. Way over my head. But it is opening day this week for the Phillies. And guys, I won't lie. I know you love your football talk. But as you can see behind me, there's more Phillies gear hanging up behind me than other stuff. You should see. I'm packing up my other room. I got so many other posters and pictures to hang up instead of jerseys, and that might be the new studio. I might go with some of my other things. You should see all the Phillies stuff I've got. Phillies have always been my number one. Um, it's going to stay that way. It's opening day week. Rojas and Pache making the roster is intriguing to me. I think they need more of a left-handed power bat off the bench. I think Rojas should be the starter, even though he hasn't earned it, because you want him to be the guy, big picture. Pache has earned the job. You just want to pick one guy and let him stay. But I think it'll be a massive platoon between Rojas, Pache, and Whit Merrifield in the left field corner and center field. I guess you could throw Brandon Marsh. He's probably going to get rotated in, even though he shouldn't be. Brandon Marsh should be an everyday center fielder or left fielder. Will Phil hang random Phil things all over? I will have a very different looking studio. What? I don't know, but we will. Do you have a Jimmy Rollins fat head? There might be a Jimmy Rollins something somewhere in my other room. Behind me right now, the fat heads. It's just a Hoskins fat head back there, who's not even on the Phillies anymore. So that could come down. He's a ugly brewer now. Can we maybe get some lighting? I brought a light into here, an extra light into here. And I keep forgetting. I turned it on for one show last week, and every other show I've forgotten to turn the extra light on. I keep forgetting. It's not part of my routine. It's hard for me to change my routine, and moving's going to change my routine, and that's going to be a problem. Intros say turn off the dial, turn up the, something like that. Something like that. I'm excited for opening day. I know the comment section won't be, because everybody wants to talk Eagles all the time. But the Phillies, just like the Eagles, have championship caliber expectations on them, and deservedly so. The question is, can they follow through with it? Can the Phillies win a World Series trophy in 2024? Is this team primed to win a World Series? At least get back to the World Series that they were in 2 years ago. The Phillies have a better chance than the Sixers do. I think the Phillies are right there with the Eagles in competitive rosters that have been built to challenge for a championship. The Eagles are going to be challenging for the Super Bowl next year in 2024. No doubt about it. The Phillies should be. Best bullpen? I don't know. But if you think about it, on paper, the Phillies have one question mark, really. Well, two question marks. Who's going to play left field or center field, depending on where they put Marsh? And what's going to go on with Taijuan Walker? Taijuan Walker's probably going to go on the IL. Spencer Turnbull's going to fill in the rotation. Montgomery is still a free agent pitcher. Do they need another starting pitcher right now? Absolutely. Montgomery, it's 4 days before opening day. Not being on a roster is bogus. He should be on a roster. He should be on the Phillies roster. If I'm Dave Dombrowski, you can't be taken seriously with Turnbull and Sanchez as your 4 and 5, especially knowing Ranger Suarez gets hurt a lot and misses time. You've got to go out and get Montgomery right now. And the fact that no one is a question mark and a red flag. But you know what? You take that red flag and you turn it into a green flag. Be like, all right, nobody else wants you. What do you want? Let's get you on a 1-and-1. 1-year deal with a 1-year option. How much is it going to take? I keep talking about how the Eagles have gone all in. And they're trying to win a Super Bowl. The Phillies have basically gone all in. So you just got to maximize that all in. You know that right now the Phillies, now they gave Matt Strahm an extension through 2025. I think with a 2026 option too, which is a great move. I love Matt Strahm. I think he's such a great, option to have in your pen. He could go long. He could be a starter for 2 or 3 innings on a doubleheader. There's a lot of positive at Matt Strahm, but Matt Strahm and forget who else. There's only 2 Phillies. Well, now that Matt Strahm signed, there's only 2 Phillies players that aren't under contract for 2025. So your team this year is your team next year too. So you're all in for the next 2 years. You go get Montgomery. Make yourself not have the best bullpen as MLB.com thinks. Give yourself the best starting rotation as well. A Nola, Wheeler, Nola, Ranger, Montgomery, 1, 2, 3, 4. You couldn't find another better 4 in baseball. So go out. If the Philadelphia Eagles can go all in, why can't the Phillies go all in? Maybe some Hertz Metch. I don't know what that means. Point the wall, paint the wall Eagles green. We'll see. It's got a lot of wood paneling in the basement. I don't know what I'll do with it, whether I'll paint it or not. Any projects, I'm broke. As soon as I buy the house, I'm broke. So we'll see. We're just going to make do with what we got. An Eagles logo that would be. Yeah, I would love. Yeah, I have to hit up my man Joe Castro. His girl did a mural. Or I'll have to hit up Sean Brace. He had a mural of Joel Embiid in the process in his basement studio. Got to get one of those murals built, or drawn for me. Any news on the Biden? Stop. 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 Don't even try to bring that into the equation. Who is Tony Bobolinsky? That sounds like a name right there. You guys are just talking random shit in the comment section because I tried to bring the Phillies into the conversation for 5 minutes. And you're trying to kill my algorithm when I'm trying to talk what is relevant. The title of this show is Trending in the AM. Guess what's trending? Baseball season. Is anybody excited to hear Ohtani talk today to the media for the first time since it's gambling? They had to give him a whole entire weekend to study and learn his lines on what to say today when he speaks to the media. My question is, who's translating for him? I think Paul Heyman should be his advocate and speak on his behalf at this press conference. Did you hear Paul Heyman and a Brock Lesnar, Joey Ohtani? I'm the advocate and the special counsel for Joey Ohtani. Bob Sacramone. Sacramone. Are you saying Sacramone? It was John Sacramone. Bob Sacramone. I'm confusing whoever you're talking about privately in my chat with Sopranos characters. Johnny Sacks. Oh my God, guys. Just stop it with the comments. Stop. I'd rather no comments than comments about politics and world affairs. Just saying. Kramer's fan? Oh, Bob. Oh, I know. I don't think you're spelling it right. Bob. I know who you're talking about from Kramer. I do know who you're talking about now. And I can even hear in my head Kramer saying it, but I can't hear the pronunciation of the last name. So it might be wrong. But I get it. I get what you're getting at. All right. So you guys hate baseball. All right. So you're changing the topics because I'm talking baseball. Maybe I'll have to do a second trending in the AM every day just to talk baseball. Because you guys are going to kill me all summer long when I'm talking baseball on here. But it is what it is. I love my baseball. I can't change that. Thank God we didn't have to talk about Will Greer much. I thank God we didn't. We're in the final 10 of the show today, and Will Greer did not stay in the comments very long. Much appreciated. I'm interested in seeing when they say Howie, Jeffrey, and Nick speak to the media this week from the owners' meetings. Obviously, we will cover that. Tomorrow, we will cover them speaking if they speak today. But if not, then we are going to run a mock draft tomorrow, and we will talk that. Of course, he will. No doubt it. Where your opinions actually matter, except for when you start talking politics. For sure. It's my show. Your opinions matter on what I bring to the table. Don't add things that I don't bring to the table. Do a baseball only podcast where you argue with everyone. Call it Breaking Balls. Yeah. I think you just came up with a title for your own podcast, Tim. But I can't bring any more to the table than I already am. 5 shows of an hour and a half a week, plus golf an hour a week. You're talking 8.5 hours of content, plus guest appearances on other shows. Come on. I can't add any more to my agenda here. All right? I just can't. Spitballing. Yeah, I like that one. They're both great names. You guys come up with some great names. Spitballing and Breaking Balls. I like it. They're both very good. Phil is the gatekeeper. I am always the gatekeeper. Breaking Balls, yeah. But anyway. So this week's gonna be jam-packed. We're going to be talking baseball a lot this week. Guys, Thursday, I'm going to be doing a lot of Phillies predictions and preview. I've got to. I've got to make my record prediction, which I already know will not be liked. I ran a poll this weekend. Who's more likely to win the award? Zach Wheeler, Cy Young winner, Bryce Harper, MVP. Zach Wheeler smoked Bryce Harper in the poll, by the way. 4-1. Couple hundred votes. So we're going to talk that. Predictions on home runs, strikeouts, wins, everything. That'll be Thursday. I don't care what happens. Thursday will be heavy baseball. Take the morning off. I don't care. But there's going to be a lot of baseball talk on Thursday. Has to be. I'll even try to maybe find some guests to come on and do predictions with me. We'll see. Maybe Luke from the Gambler will be back. I don't know. Eagles, owners meetings, mock drafts, lots on the agenda. It's Easter week, too. Easter on Sunday. Are you guys Easter fans? Did you guys have big Easters? With the Easter bunny and Easter egg hunts growing up? We really didn't do a lot. We went to a family member's always for dinner, obviously church-related stuff. We didn't really do a lot. Easter wasn't as big in my family. So I don't know. We'll see. Don't sell yourself short. There's plenty more you could bring to the table. Thanks, Tim. Muchas gracias. I appreciate that. If I didn't have a pizza shop to run, and if I could get paid big bucks, if I can get paid a living, a full-time wage, I would do 8 hours a day. But I got a pizza shop to run. Nobody wants to buy the pizza shop. So, the pizza shop, I can't do shows all morning long and do shows all night long. I have to work 6 days a week right now. It's tough to get content until the draft. We're gonna roll some draft content out. I know I'm no expert, but I am gonna be rolling mock drafts out on a regular basis in the coming weeks for sure. Lent is for the girlfriends, but Easter is for the. Yeah, is that right? I know what you're saying, and it's funny. That's very funny. I like it. Maybe you should give up your girlfriends for Lent. Don't you have to give something up for Lent? I don't do that anymore. So yeah, guys, we're gonna wrap it up right there. I think I got lots going on this week, so we might check out 5 minutes early some days here and there. Got to get started. Got to head into work. Got to put my deposit down on my house today. We got lots to accomplish today, personally. Professionally, there's other stuff that's going to be happening in the coming weeks. It's why it is so imperative that you follow me on social media, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, wherever it may be. You've got to follow me. There's going to be so much happening personally and professionally, which I haven't really teased that yet. But there is going to be some big news coming in the coming weeks that we're going to announce live on this show. So make sure you're doing some of that, guys. Make sure you're following me. And bring the baseball conversation. Tell your friends to come watch the baseball conversation this week, because there's going to be baseball conversations this week. There is. Sixers tonight in Sacramento. Can Mitchie Poo get his accurate prediction of 2-2? I don't think so. I think they lose tonight. Harden, did we win the trade? That's going to be on the agenda this week, because since he's coming to town, did the Sixers win the Harden trade? Owners meeting, draft. Guys, we're wrapping it up right there. Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. Follow, like, subscribe, share, turn the notifications on, retweet, and join us every day at 8 a.m. for the best morning show in Philadelphia. And as always, guys, it's really simple. Let's go Birds.